Capitalism. Oh, what is this thing? Okay, folks, strap in. We're talking capitalism. In the simplest terms, capitalism is an economic system where private citizens and companies own and control things like factories, land, and resources. It's all about competition, baby. Businesses duke it out to make a profit. The more moolah they rake in, theoretically, the better it is for everyone. Think of it like a giant, chaotic game of Monopoly. Except instead of boardwalk, it's your local coffee shop. And instead of fake money, it's your actual rent. The point is, under capitalism, it's all about that sweet, sweet cash. Now, before you start picturing Scrooge McDuck diving into a pool of gold coins, remember this: capitalism is supposed to be about more than just individual greed. It's about innovation, competition, and creating a system where, in theory, everyone has a shot at the good life. Emphasis on in theory. But like any system, capitalism has its fair share of flaws. Think income inequality, exploitation, and the whole destroying the planet for profit thing. But we'll get to all that later. For now, just remember, capitalism is about private ownership, competition, and of course, the almighty dollar. So, how did we get to this whole capitalist free-for-all? Well, it wasn't an overnight thing. Capitalism, like that weird smell in your grandma's attic, has been brewing for centuries. Think back to those dreary days of feudalism in Europe. You had lords and ladies living large off the backs of peasants who toiled away in the fields, not exactly a recipe for economic equality. But things started to change. Trade routes opened up, cities grew, and people began to realize that maybe, just maybe, there was a better way to do things. Enter early forms of capitalism. This new system said, hey, maybe instead of just inheriting your dad's land, you can actually, work for your money. Radical, right? This period, known as mercantilism, saw nations stockpiling wealth and forming colonies to expand their economic empires. Think of it as capitalism 1.0, a bit clunky, prone to exploitation. But hey, it was a start. Now, no conversation about capitalism is complete without mentioning the big kahuna himself, Adam Smith. This Scottish economist was like the Oprah of his day, except instead of book clubs and giveaways, he wrote a little ditty called The Wealth of Nations in 1776. In it, Smith laid out the basic principles of capitalism, arguing that individuals driven by self-interest could actually create a more prosperous society for everyone. It was a radical idea, kind of like suggesting that eating an entire pizza by yourself could somehow solve world hunger. His big idea was the invisible hand. Basically, Smith argued that when individuals are free to pursue their own economic interests, the market magically regulates itself, leading to the best outcome for society as a whole. It's like saying that if you leave a bunch of toddlers alone with a birthday cake, they'll somehow manage to divide it up fairly. Now, we all know that's not always how things shake out in the real world, but Smith's ideas were revolutionary for his time, and they helped shape the way we think about economics today. Section 4, Capitalism's all-star team. Why it caught on. So why did capitalism become the economic MVP? Well, for starters, it had a killer team. The Industrial Revolution, with its factories and mass production, was like capitalism's star player, driving up productivity and creating new wealth. Then you had trade, which expanded markets and allowed countries to specialize in what they did best. Think of it like a global potluck where everyone brings their best dish. But perhaps the biggest reason for capitalism's success was its emphasis on private property. People were motivated to work hard and innovate because they knew they could reap the rewards of their labor. It was like a giant carrot dangling in front of humanity, urging them to work, produce, and consume. Capitalism wasn't always pretty, mind you. It had its fair share of sweatshops, child labor, and environmental destruction. But it also led to incredible advancements in technology, medicine, and overall living standards. It was a system full of contradictions, but it was a system that, for better or worse, reshaped the world. Section 5, Socialism, Communism, and Other Economic Mixtapes. Now, capitalism wasn't the only game in town. Over the years, other economic philosophies emerged, each with their own take on how to create a fair and just society. You had socialism, which advocated for shared ownership of resources and a more equitable distribution of wealth. Then there was communism, the more extreme cousin of socialism, which called for the abolition of private property altogether. Think of it like that friend who always insists on splitting the bill evenly, even if they ordered the lobster. And of course, there were countless variations and hybrids of these systems, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Some countries experimented with mixed economies, combining elements of capitalism and socialism, like a carefully curated Spotify playlist for your economic system. The point is, capitalism has always had competition, and the debate over the best economic system rages on today, more relevant than ever. Section 6. Capitalism now, still standing, but maybe on one leg. So, where does capitalism stand today? Well, it's still the dominant economic system globally, but it's looking a little worse for wear. Think of it like that one friend who peaked in high school and is now clinging desperately to their glory days. Globalization and technology have created a world where corporations wield immense power, often at the expense of workers and the environment. Income inequality is rampant, with the gap between the haves and have-nots widening every day. Climate change, fueled by unchecked consumption and a relentless pursuit of profit, threatens the very planet we call home. It's enough to make you want to chuck your smartphone out the window and move to a yurt in the woods, but despite its flaws, capitalism persists. It's adaptable, for one. Like a chameleon changing its colors, capitalism has a knack for morphing and evolving to fit the times, even if it means slapping a sustainable sticker on a product that's destroying the rainforest. Section 7. Why capitalism persists, like a cockroach after an apocalypse. So, why does capitalism endure despite its obvious shortcomings? Well, for one, it's incredibly efficient at generating wealth. Sure, that wealth might be concentrated in the hands of a select few, but hey, at least someone's making money, right? Capitalism also taps into our innate desire for individual freedom and choice. We like the idea that we can work hard, climb the ladder, and achieve our dreams, even if the odds are stacked against us. And let's be honest, capitalism is really good at selling us stuff. From flashy cars to the latest gadgets, we're constantly bombarded with messages